Hey everyone, so welcome back to the Essentials channel. I'm back from my vacation at Shanghai and I'm here to do another project review for you today. So today what we have is, as the date draws closer to July, that is actually the starting launch of all the CCR developments that are coming out. So moving forward, once July comes into motion, you will see many of the new CCR developments coming into play. We got Robertson Opus, alright, we got Upper House, we got River Green, we got Promenade Peak, as well as one more Zion plot of land that is going to be coming out as well. So total, we have about 5 to 6 new launches coming out in the CCR. Will it actually be an oversupply or undersupply, or will the demand actually keep up with the supply that is coming out here within these areas itself? So today's feature is actually on Robertson Opus. I'm actually very excited about this development because I have a bit of a sneak peek of the upcoming Upper House, and I must say I'm a little bit affected by the way they are distributing the units in terms of unit distribution. But what I really love about Robertson Opus, because it happens to be a 999 development, and that also means people may buy for legacy planning but also for their own stay. Especially we are in the area where the mindset as well as the thinking, the thought process is still very traditional. They are still looking for something that is freehold and 999. But most importantly, even myself as a consumer, when we talk about CCR property, I personally stay in Orchard myself, just behind Shangri-La in Novel 18. I also was on the lookout for a freehold, because why? I always believe buying CCR needs to be freehold. But are we actually shifting in terms of that mindset? And that shift in consumer behavior may actually be just happening at this moment with the infrastructure phase coming into play, and most importantly, the various townships in the mass market and city fringe all narrowing in price gap, making societal progression possible, just like my CCR video that I did previously. So coming back to Robertson Opus, the 999 development, I'm also very excited. As always, what we'll be doing will be the rapid fire info, the site plan and floor plan analysis, and we'll pick up for you which are the floor plans that we feel is good or bad. Alright, the next thing is of course why I will not buy Robertson Opus, why I will buy Robertson Opus, the price prediction, and of course my final verdict. Before we go into the rapid fire information, if you all like my content so far, continue to like, share and subscribe to keep me motivated to creating more content for you. Right, I'm definitely squeezing my creative juices here to give you all different perspectives, but most importantly, a unique angle from an agent empowerment point of view, yet combining with how consumers think, because after all, agents are the ones that will not screw themselves up. Am I right or not? Why do I say that? Because we want to build a lasting relationship. We will definitely recommend you something that we are confident of selling in future. Then who better to listen than the agent consultant himself? So now we head into the rapid fire information of the Robertson Opus. The developer is actually Sekisui House as well as Fraser's. It's a redevelopment of their current property called the Robertson Walk. Alright, so it is located on 11 Unity Street. It is a proposed mixed-use development comprising of one podium block with estimated of 26 commercial units on the first floor and basement 1, with basement 1 car park, 5 blocks of 9 to 10 story high residential tower with 348 units, plus 1 landscape deck on the second story, a rooftop garden, and basement 2 and basement 3 car park. Right, total number of units 348 units, tenure of land is 999 years from 1st July 1841. Alright, expected vacant possession date Q2 2030. The land size is 97,000 square feet with 278 car park lots, 2 accessible lots at basement 2 and 3. Alright, so architect is of course by ADDP Architect. Landscape consultant is by Tinderbox. These are renowned names that are very famous for their landscaping as well as their quality finishings in terms of building structure. Here are a few perspectives of how Robertson Opus will look like. Alright, so here is a summary of the unit mix. First of all, we have 40 units of suite, 40 units of 1 bedroom, 118 units of 2 bedroom, 32 units of 2 plus study, 3 bedroom plus flexi, which is 45 units. This is like the 3 bedroom plus study kind of layouts. 3 bedroom dual flex, which is like a 3 bedroom dual key, but not a dual key. Alright, and then 3 bedroom premium, 8%. Alright, which is about 27 units, 4 bedroom premium, of 9 units. So looking at the distribution and the proportion, I'm happy but not so happy as well. But it is actually good to see that more than 25% is allocated to homestay demand needs. Why do I say 25% and not 35%? Because out of the 3 and 4 bedrooms, there is this particular layout called the 3-bedroom dual flex, that if you deep dive into it, you will realize that it is trying to mimic what a dual key can bring, with the 2 bedrooms on one side as well as the 1 bedroom below that has its own access door, but you share the same kitchen as well as laundry area, which kind of defeats the purpose if you ask me. So people who want dual key would want their own self-sustainable units, but yet they have to come out to share the amenities within the unit, such as the laundry area as well as the kitchen, which doesn't really make that much of a sense to me. You want to do dual key, you do dual key. You don't do what we call dual flex, which doesn't have a clear classification of unit type and layout type. Alright, so this itself would mean that it is tackling the group of people that wants to use this to maximize their yield, means it falls under the investment side of things. Alright, so if with that in mind, the real demand, the real homestay demand units that can actually exist will be the 3-bedroom plus flexi, the 3-bedroom premium and the 4-bedroom premium, which constitutes 25% on average of the total units, but still good enough for me, because at least 25%, a quarter of the development is still supported by homestay natural demand. We understand that maybe because it's CCR, the developers want to keep the quantum low and keep it safe, that's why they allocate a little bit more to the smaller units. But the good and more comforting to see is there's only 40 units of suite and 40 units of 1 bedroom, not overthrowing the demand and supply scale. Alright, of course they place quite a bit of emphasis on the 2 bedrooms because this is the new meta. Alright, new meta. Alright, anyway, this is the new meta, alright, which is people always now want to own a 2 bedrooms because at least it gives them a safety net in terms of natural demand. Smaller families that start off will naturally go for the 2 bedrooms. There's still some homestay demand element in it that keeps prices sustainable. And especially we are in the CCR area where people may be okay to forsake a little bit. Instead of getting a 3 bedrooms in an RCR or OCR, I sacrifice a little bit, I go for a 2 bedroom in the CCR. I get all the conveniences, but I sacrifice a bit of my livability factors. That may still be possible, and that's why this distribution itself may actually turn out to be quite a balanced distribution, because the developer also don't want to be stuck with too many big units and end up not being able to sell, and then eventually, because not being able to sell due to the bigger quantum, end up they need to give discounts, which will cause the unbalanced pricing. So now we head on into the site plan analysis. I think it's quite evenly distributed with this land size that we have. They try to maximize the plot of land, especially with that big hole that they have in the center, alright, that looks into the commercial space, alright, and of course they try to squeeze in the swimming pool in the center. So of course there are some units that will get the pool view, but most of them they look down, they will get the commercial space view. Alright, so they consolidated all the 1 bedroom and the suites into block 15. Basically, I think that's the block that most likely it will be rented out, and they are trying to create more privacy for everybody else who's wanting this space to stay in. They put it in the deeper side of the land, alright, so that of course we put them as the tenants down there. I think it's fine. They hit down, they will enter into the commercial space very quickly. Alright, so you will see the 2 bedrooms are actually evenly distributed, with block 11 being having the highest number of 2 bedroom unit types. Alright, of course then you can see block 7 and block 13 as well as block 15. Some are corner units, some are middle units, mostly all middle units. Followed by a point block where they have the least number of units, which is block 9, where we have all the 3 bedrooms and the 4 bedrooms situated down there to give the utmost privacy, which is to cater to the people who is wanting to homestay. So then we have the site plan here, which shows the landscape design. We have 8, 9 and 10, which is your lawn area, your gourmet pavilion and your relaxation deck, alright, behind here. So actually, if we look at the site plan itself, this is a little bit of a disadvantage because of the need to cater to the commercial space, and I think they probably ran out of GFA as well. You will see that there is a hole. They are trying to retain whatever that the current building is able to do, which is you have the residential looking into the commercial side of things. It wants to create that open feel, but then again, it is also a sacrifice or a compromise in terms of privacy. But don't you realize that as compared to usual projects itself, usually we will have the center part being full landscape, having the facilities situated in the center, right? Rather than being under one of the blocks such as block 13 itself, where all the facilities are located there. Alright, so this comes a question about livability. Alright, here as we are in the infrastructure phase based on the 3-phase transformation that we have. This one itself still has a question about livability because families, kids don't have a very clear space to run. They try to squeeze in a lawn area in the top right hand corner, but in fact, is that actually enough or not? Does it actually facilitate the usual communal activities that we are so used to enjoying in our RCR and OCR properties, where the central part of the development usually is the full landscaping, the trail walks, the playground, the function rooms, the BBQ pits, the swimming pool that stretches across the full landscaping. That is what we call livable because of the structure of the land as well as the restrictions of the land. Maybe that's why we are losing a little bit on that part of things. It still feels like a very cold CCR development in a way, but they try their best, and I think we should appreciate it because based on how I see this development, still quite livable after all. But this is just me being a bit nitpicky. But of course, they try to mitigate this issue by creating this sky terrace that actually, or a sky garden or sky garden wellness, to link up all the blocks together to have this livability, to make sure it connects the whole community together. So now we head into the floor plan analysis. To start, this is the suite. Basically, it's an open studio concept. Alright, you get in, you walk in from your main entrance, you are greeted with a 7.5 square meter kitchen, open concept. Move on, you get your dining area, your living area, followed by your master bedroom. To me, the layout looks a bit weird because you'll be having your dining area in front of your bed, kind of weird, and then a living room that is tucked right beside of your bed itself. I think we can, because this is still an open concept, we can reconfigure this whole space to seem a little bit more livable rather than being so weird here. Maybe we can tuck the master bed, alright, closer to where the wall is, towards the AC latch side, and have the living room, the sofa facing the wall, and of course we put the dining closer to the balcony side. We can maybe reconstruct this a little bit, but as of now, what I'm seeing, why they do this, I guess, is because they want to maximize the wall-to-wall distance between the sofa as well as the TV, and this is one of the better ways to do so. Maybe the dining area, we can peg it against the kitchen cabinetry rather than being right below your feet where the dining area is right now. Now we move on to the 1-bedroom layout. Alright, you can see from here, this is actually facing the pool side of things. Quite a good blessing for the 1-bedroom, I must say. Usually the 1-bedrooms gets the worst facing, but this 1-bedroom here actually gets one of the best facing, which is facing the pool. Alright, if we see from here, we enter, we have a foyer area of 1.1 square meter, greeted by this open concept kitchen, and then the usual dining and living. Just like what we always mention, buying the 1-bedroom must always have a Jack and Jill entrance, which this one truly fulfills it. Moving forward to the 2-bedroom. 2-bedroom, you got a few layouts here, but for this one, it will be the traditional layout. Alright, it comes with an enclosable kitchen, a separated dining and living, just like a traditional 3-bedroom layout. So this is actually quite ideal, I must say, followed by a 9 square meter second bedroom and an 11.8 square meter master bedroom with the respective toilets running in parallel of the bedrooms. Nothing to complain about. This is exactly the 2 bedrooms that all the mass market and city fringe buyers or consumers are exposed to. It is exactly to cater to their upgrading process. Where they move into the city area, they will actually get back the same kind of livability factors which facilitates the natural demand. But most importantly, a very good bonus to add, right, they are all corner units of block 15. And why is this good to have? Because another great livability factor is every toilet will have natural ventilation, as you can see in the layout. And I always tell people, if you want second bathroom to have a window, then you have to look for corner units, because corner units are the only ones that are able to grant you that window in the second bathroom. Next, we move on to the other 2-bedroom alternative layout, which is the usual dumbbell layout that we see. Entering the foyer area, 1 square meter of foyer area, which I believe is very efficient in that sense. A 9.9 square meter kitchen, followed by a separated living and dining. Master bedroom, bedroom 2 of 9.2 square meters with the master bath and bathroom with each respective bedrooms, doubling up as a 2 en-suites. You can see this is the usual 2-bedroom dumbbell layouts that we are very used to, which again facilitates the societal progression as well as the upgraders from RCR and OCR. Next, this is the 2-bedroom layout, another alternative 2-bedroom layout, which is found in Block 7, Stack 7. Alright, this one you will see the corner units of the Block 9, which is where all the 3 and 4 bedders are. Because this is a corner unit as well, they are in a very odd angle, and that's why when you enter the foyer space, there will be this turning point at the kitchen area. Probably gives you a bit more privacy, and then you are greeted with your living and dining and a master bedroom of 10.7 square meters, 9.2 square meters of bedroom 2. Right, so take note, because this is a non-harmonized development, AC ledges are actually considered in the space, but because of the construction method, you can actually hack down the master bedroom to form your living and master to have this very big living space in the center of your house, and then you convert bedroom 2 into a ensuite master bedroom for yourself. Next, we come here with the 721 square feet 2-bedroom unit. Coming in here, you are greeted with an enclosed kitchen, traditional layout with the bedrooms running in parallel to the toilet, a 19 square meter living room. This one is found in Stack 16 and 17 of Block 11. Another 2-bedroom traditional layout with a longer corridor. Alright, this one faces the Unity Street, so this is probably gonna be the cheaper 2-bedroom units, and you can see this is a 721 square feet with an open concept kitchen. So likelihood this will be priced the cheapest because this is a layout for 2 bedrooms that I will avoid. Not only it does not have a enclosable kitchen, it also faces Unity Street, which can be very noisy. Alright, so probably the starting price may be the lowest is this kind of layout. A mirror image 2-bedroom, right, which is Stack 19. Okay, similarly to the one that we just described. We move on to the 2 plus study layout. Alright, this 2 plus study layout B7 is found in Stack 1, 8, 21 and 28. Basically, they all face the landscaping, one of the best views for the 2 plus study. Again, this is a good layout because it comes with dumbbell layout and closed kitchen with a study of 4.3 square meters. Typical layout that we see in mass markets. Again, to cater to the livability factors of these upgraders. Next, we have the 3-bedroom flexi. When you come in, you are greeted with the living and dining and the kitchen. Traditional layout, 3 bedrooms, each bedroom is 9 square meter. Probably they are trying to match up to what the harmonized developments can give, followed by a master bedroom of 12.1 square meters. We have a flexi. This is basically a 926 square feet unit, 3-bedroom compact. They give you a flexi. It's also a good thing because it can double up as a helper's room or your study room or a storeroom. So in a way, this is to mitigate the issue of the people having the need to buy a 3-bedroom premium, but the quantum exceeds. They can actually use this as an alternative. It is still livable in that sense. Of course, in Singapore culture, in a way, having the utility toilet is always the most important because they want to make sure that the helper has their own space and their own respective toilets for all the family members. Alright, next we have the 3-bedroom flexi, another alternative layout that is in Stack 15. Alright, you will realize that they are all corner units again. That's why your bathrooms are able to get windows and natural ventilation. Similarly, it's a mirror image of the thing that we just mentioned. Alright, basically here's another 3-bedroom flexi layout, 1012 square feet, slightly bigger, alright, in the corner, alright, of Stack 3. Alright, you can see from here when you come in, there is this extra space for your foyer to give you more added privacy. Flexi dining and living. So basically, you can knock off the wall to create a bigger dining area, give you more width. In case you want to host, you can actually put more people in the dining area. Living room will be the standard 2.8 meters. Alright, so take note a little bit. There are 3 bedrooms. All of their living room are all 2.8 meters wide. Okay, so that is actually a little bit of a concern here because we are very used to the 3 meter or 3.1 meter that a lot of the mass market developments can give. I guess in order to mitigate the issue about the extra storeroom or utility, they put some of the space into this flexi space, which I think, okay, improves the livability. I can bear with this compromise, I must say. Alright, so next here we have the 3-bedroom flexi again. This is the traditional layout, okay, where we see the usual living and dining and then the enclosed kitchen. Alright, so not much of a difference here for 1023. Again, it is a corner unit, so you will have bathroom windows for your common toilet and your master toilet. Another 3-bedroom flexi, just with a longer corridor. this will be stacked 2, all right, and you will see actually some space being wasted. The 1023 versus the 1044 is probably the difference in the foyer space where you add in an extra 0.9 square meters. Everything else is probably pretty much the same. Next, we have a 3-bedroom dual flex. See my face, everybody. What is this? If we look at this layout, and somehow they created 4 stacks of these. Why? 990 square feet. As you walk into the main entrance, you are greeted with a kitchen in the center of your house with the dining. This is trying too hard, man. Right, like I say, whenever we look at layouts that time, there is always the right space at the right time at the right place. Why do you have the dining overlapping with the kitchen? Alright, just because you want to create a dual key layout down here. And the thing is this, they say shared bath accessible via common bedroom and dining area. Very funny, isn't it? Alright, and then of course you people want to go for dual key, they will just have one sustainable unit and not people being able to access your bathroom from the outside when you are actually staying inside your own sustainable unit, which is bedroom 2 in this layout per se. This is supposed to be the studio side of things. And of course, we move forward to the other side where the 2-bedroom is located, bedroom 3 and master bedroom, the living room down there. When people go for dual key itself is already a very difficult commodity to move off because it does not meet the livability needs. But of course, if you're looking for youth and retirement needs, dual key actually plays a very good role in it, and that's why there is still this demand there. But when you start to combine these two things together about livability and dual key, just to balance off the attributes, then it comes out this weird layout, which is the kitchen in the center, separating one unit, one sustainable unit on top and the other sustainable unit below. If I want to cut this unit into half, I also don't know how to cut. So basically, it means that the bedroom 2 occupant will have interaction with the master bedroom and bedroom 3, and if you want to do a dual key concept, you also cannot do because people will be complaining about the privacy issue. Dual key already people start to complain about that, but can you imagine you need to co-live together? I guess they are trying to go with the co-living type of trend that is in the market right now, but co-living also means that people still get their own privacy in their own respective spaces. But this one, there is a very hard and restrictive designation of space in this layout that makes it very difficult for people to have their own privacy. Alright, so take note, one more thing, for layout C2 to C5 for the 3-bedroom flexi, we also have 2 balconies within the unit. Alright, one in the living room, one in the master bedroom. Right, because this is a non-harmonized development, and that's why in a way they put 2 balconies and there is a possibility. But to me, this is going back in time and is going backwards in terms of trend. Actually, so far the projects with the likes of Alta, Ori and everybody else, right, their layouts are so efficient ever since GFA harmonization kicked in. Alright, sometimes having 2 balconies is a luxury, but it really depends on the accumulative space you have in the unit. This is a 1023 square feet unit. Alright, the balcony space, by having 2 balconies itself, it actually eats into the space, the effective usage of space within the unit. The last time around where we see this is probably a longer time ago. Probably they think that the CCR people or the CCR consumers would want to see this as a form of luxury, but you must give enough space to it. Like my own house that I'm staying in right now, I have 2 balconies, one in the living room, another one in my master bedroom. But take note, my size is 1,800 square feet for a 3-bedroom plus study, yeah? So I can actually play around with the balconies without any compromise of my livability. Now the key question to ask is, do I really need to have a balcony of 9.2 square meters, which is a bedroom size in my master bedroom? I think here, although the floor plans put 9.2 square meter, I think this is the total number of balcony space inside the unit. I guess it will be 4.6 square meter and 4.6 square meter for the living and master. Alright, so with that in mind, could that have been a space that we can do for an extra bedroom or a bigger living room? So it really depends on how the developers make use of their GFA. Alright, next we move forward into the 3-bedroom premium, which is at 1152 square feet. We can see as we enter the main entrance, you got your living and dining all in their designated space. Very nice concept. A very nice enclosed kitchen with the yard WC, 3 bedrooms, all bedrooms are 9.7 square meters, 8.7 square meters and 15 square meter master bedroom, very generous, and a 4.5 square meter flexi in the right place because In the event you ever want to create a walk-in wardrobe, we can actually construct a door just before the flexi, right, to eat the space into the master bedroom, as well as a flexi to create a walk-in wardrobe space for yourself. Very luxurious, very livable living area, as well as very good distribution of spaces to the bedrooms as well as the yard, storeroom, or the bomb shelter. Same thing, this is an alternate layout for the 3-bedroom premium. This 3-bedroom premium is just a slight reflection of what we have above, with a difference in terms of the kitchen placement. Otherwise, you still get the portrait layout. Alright, they are all corner units, so your bathroom will actually get window, natural ventilation. Now we move on to the final layout, which is the 1539 square feet 4-bedroom premium. We can see from here, this is a portrait layout. So surprisingly, this is not GFA harmonized, but they still can't give you the kind of landscape layout. Probably because a lot of the space went into the AC ledge, which is about 7.3 square meters. Alright, multi-generation unit. You have your 3 bedrooms on one side, a dumbbell layout with the junior suite on the left side of the whole layout. Of course, because this is non-harmonized and it's not PPVC, alright, you can really hack away the bedroom floor to create that landscape layout that you are looking for. But that also means that it's at the expense of 1 bedroom. You are at 1539 square feet. I have seen developers giving 1,300 square feet 4 bedrooms landscape layout, similarly dumbbell. Why can't they have constructed this to be more efficient in the sense to give us that landscape layout here? Probably it's because they wanted to give us a 3.5 meter width, or maybe because of non-harmonization, too much space has gone into the balcony, because take note, there is additional balcony in the master bedroom as well, which is not something that we will see in GFA harmonized units. So in a way, the 4-bedroom layout may not be that efficient after all, but is it still livable? It is, and it will cater to the upgraders from the RCR and OCR that are seeking societal progression. To wrap it up, it faces the swimming pool, no detrimental micro factors regarding facing. Now we move on to why I will not buy Robertson Opus. Number one, it is the non-GFA harmonized layouts. So to see the layouts, actually I realized that quite a fair bit of the space has gone to the AC ledge. I do feel that some of the layouts can be more efficient, like the ones that I mentioned, like the 4 bedrooms could have given me a landscape layout, which is so popular. And since you are non-GFA harmonized, that's the best time to actually do a landscape layout, but not sure why the developer did not do it. To me, I personally stay in a landscape orientation right now, and it is one of the best things that happen, because the minute you walk in from your lift or your doorstep, you will realize that it opens up to this very wide space that takes advantage of the wider view and the wider frontage. Alright, that itself is what we call luxury, and since we are staying in CCR, this is something that we hope we can achieve with these units down here. The layout itself has 2 balconies for the 3 bedrooms and the 4 bedrooms. Again, this is something that we rarely see nowadays ever since GFA harmonization has kicked in. It is something that we always see in the previous cycles of launches where you have a balcony in the master bedroom. Basically, this cuts down on the livability factors. So I have questions whether those upgraders who are already spoiled by the GFA harmonized policies and the URA improvements, all the space are effectively inside your net usable space, right, in the living room, bedroom, so on and so forth. Now to suddenly get a balcony in the master bedroom, which can be deemed as not efficient, alright, whether these people will be able to accept or not, and that will affect my exit strategy in the future. Number 2, the mix of commercial as well as residential development. So if I put myself in the shoes of a consumer, as well as I'm a consumer myself, basically privacy to me is always the most important. I want to get home without the hustle and bustle. I already stay in CCR itself. I stay in Robertson. Oh my god. Alright, so this is the place where the vibrancy is at its highest. Alright, I want to have some peace and quiet. I want to have some tranquility. I want to have my own privacy. This itself, commercial, a mixed development, always has a double-edged sword. Right? Can the residential aspect of things retain its privacy as well as its tranquility, but yet give you the accessibility and the convenience, just like how Midtown Modern is, just like how Lentor Modern is. Basically, the commercial people do not look into the residential consumers, and the residents in the residential component do not look into the commercial component. They will look into the commercial area, and with that in mind, we have the privacy being compromised. Basically, you have random people or strangers being able to look into your unit or look at you when you are sitting in the balcony. I do want to have the option of sitting in my balcony without anybody assessing me or judging me from the commercial space, which is a stranger. Third minor point, but I'm just being nitpicky down here, is it does not have a tennis court. But honestly, if you ask me, in a way, is it so important? It does affect a little bit because we have various gurus or various experts that say that, wow, definitely if this development were to be sustainable, they need to have tennis court. Right, I mean, it's just a representation of how big this land is. The bigger the land, the more landscaping it has, the more facilities it has, the more it caters to livability and community living. Alright, but to me, you are already in the city area. Some compromise in terms of this should be alright. Alright, you can get your tennis courts in the clubs or your membership clubs that provide tennis courts. Just a short drive away, you'll be able to gain access to that. So here's moving forward why I will buy Robertson Opus today. So there's actually going to be 6 developments that is coming out and launching within the next 3 to 4 months. Alright, I think there will be a bit of oversupply that is happening within the area. So actually Robertson Opus itself in a way presents you with the first movers advantage. Why would I say that? Because it's actually one of the first few new developments to be launched, but it is the only 999 development that will be launching in the next 6 months. And with that in mind, that is something that is of a rare commodity within the CCR itself, because most of it is all by government land sales, which we have no choice but to accept that it is a 99 leasehold. So this time around, a renewed opportunity presents itself because finally there is something that is freehold or similar to freehold that is coming out into the market today, and it can only happen because it is en bloc. Alright, and if we take a look at that, based on the current conservative mindsets of CCR buyers, they are still always looking out for the freehold status or the 999 status. It's taking some time for consumers to actually accept the 99 leasehold concept within the CCR area. After all, we are still catering to top-notch demographics, luxury demographics, as well as people who are high flyers or they are the affluent demographics. So after all, they have resources that can really afford freehold itself, and they are willing to pay for this premium because why? They are in it for capital preservation. They want their money to last forever, and that's why they buy real estate and in that sense, with that in mind, they want something to last the generations, and Robertson Opus is actually able to provide that element that they are looking for. And if we take a look at the pricings itself, here I have a chart that showcases Martin Modern as well as Riviere. Yes, 99 does perform within the CCR area, but depending on the launch price of Robertson Opus, which I'm hearing it's gonna be about 32, 33 or 35 per square foot. Of course, we are still waiting for the prices to be out, but if we do the prorated calculation, Riviere is actually a land sold in 2018. It is a resale transacting at 2,922 PSF on average. Means 7 years have passed. If we take 2,922 divided by 92 times back to 99, making it as though it is selling as a brand new property today, you'll be looking at 3,150 to 3,200 per square foot for a 99 leasehold development. Alright, if we are supposed to top up another 1 to 200 PSF for a freehold equivalent development, I think actually it's quite worthwhile. If we look at Martin Modern, today is transacting at 2749 PSF, and Martin Modern has been a land that has been sold since the year 2016, meaning to say 9 years have passed. If we do the same prorated, meaning to say 2749 divided by 91, alright, in 9 years, 2749 divided by 90 times back to 99 as though it's a brand new property today, it will be selling at 3,000 per square foot for a 99 leasehold property. So meaning to say a slight top up to get you a freehold equivalent development, I think it's pretty much worth it, and let alone this is actually a mixed development. So you are getting the best of many worlds within one single property. A mixed development that has been catching up in trend amongst the upgraders as well as the younger generation. A freehold commodity or a freehold equivalent commodity that is no longer available in the market, as all of the GLS are all mostly 99 leasehold. In order to get a 999 or freehold, we need to en bloc, which, am I right to say, now there's a lot of restrictions in the en blocs and we are not seeing them happening. So a slight top up may actually be a viable option for Robertson Opus. Number 2, why I will buy Robertson Opus is also because of the performance of the 999/freehold in the area. You can see from this chart, I've mapped out Watermark Robertson, which is close to 100 meters away, and then we have Rivergate, alright, which is a project that TOP in 2009, and of course we have the Avenir which is TOP in 2025. Watermark is in 2008, as well as we have Martin Place Residences. Martin Place Residences itself, TOP in 2011. So we have the various developments TOPing in alternate years. Watermark 2008, Rivergate 2009, Martin Place 2011, Avenir 2025. All these are all the freehold / 999 that's happening within the area. And you see how the price sustainability is in it for them. For the first few years, they experience exponential growth, right? We have Rivergate as well as Martin Place Residences. You can see their exponential growth at the start. You have Watermark appreciating about 59.17% all the way until the year 2014. We have Martin Place Residences as well as Rivergate appreciating an average of 46%, right, from until the year 2013/2014. Right, from there, it withstand the test of time, right, because from 2014 to 2020, basically, that was when the first cooling measures happened. And you can see how they actually withstand in terms of value. Yes, they did experience a slight drop of 100 to 200 PSF, but overall, if you hold it all the way until 2019, the Martin Place Residences as well as Rivergate increased by 9.6%. Watermark itself adjusted a little bit but regained its appreciation by 5.4%. After that, you can see it will hit its 10-year mark, but for most of these developments. From 2020 onwards, it experienced another exponential growth of 28.46%, 23.49%, as well as 21.13%. And we have Avenir being introduced into this area from 2020 onwards, appreciating all the way by 10% to 2025 at 3481 PSF because of the price gap that Avenir presents to the various developments in the area like Martin Place, Watermark, as well as Rivergate. It does help pull the prices up with the new benchmark price being set by Avenir. But does it mean that Avenir lost out? No, you still see 4 bedrooms appreciating by $1 million, transacting at 8.88 mil just last year. Right, so you can see how the value sustainability of freehold developments within the Robertson area, or at least the central region and the CCR area. So why I will buy Opus is also because of this, because it will edge out the competition that is here to come with 6 new developments within the same region. Then am I right to say getting Opus will provide you short-term, mid-term, as well as long-term price sustainability, and that's why I will actually buy Robertson Opus. Third pointer, why I'll buy Robertson Opus is also because, referencing back to my 3-phase transformation video, basically the government is revamping the central region properties, alright? It is also to solve the 2 problems that CCR always face, which is product problem and demand problem. And that's why a lot of the CCR properties were not profitable and they gave a lot of consumers this impression. Alright, but you can see with the recent years of decentralization to make sure that everywhere becomes valuable so that societal progression can happen. Alright, so narrowing the price gap between the OCR, RCR versus the CCR, basically societal progression can happen right now. In the past, it used to be 100% difference in terms of pricing, meaning to say no matter how hard you slog or how hard you work, you can probably never upgrade to a CCR unless you really made it in life. But next, because of the product problem that we used to have in the past, it sacrifices a lot of livability factors. Basically, I work so hard just to upgrade into CCR, just to compromise in terms of my lifestyle and livability. People might as well say, might as well don't go ahead. But right now, in order to change this whole dynamics, the only fastest way is to sell lands. And with that in mind, that's why if we look at the Thomson East Coast Line, you have Orchard Boulevard, you have Napier, you have River Valley, the Great World MRT station, as well as Havelock. All these are all the GLS that has happened, and that is why we are seeing the projects today. It is exactly to renew the landscaping of central region properties to cater to who? The societal progression and the upgraders from RCR and OCR. That's why you see this new township forming up here at Robertson area, as well as the Havelock, as well as the River Valley area. Why would I actually buy Robertson Opus is because we are in the infrastructure phase, and you are a 999 in the infrastructure phase. Basically, you withstand the test of time, but not only that, you will be able to achieve the capital appreciation that we will be getting in terms of an infrastructure phase, which has already strongly been proven by Avenir, which has also been strongly proven by Irwell Hill, which is also has been strongly proven by Martin Modern, as well as Riviere, based on the charts that I showed you previously. So we are going on this three approach of rare commodity, value sustainability, but most importantly, meeting the short-term goals of an infrastructure phase where you will experience the most capital appreciation in the shortest period of time with the highest ROI. And you edge out the various competitions that is here to come with the 6 new developments coming out. You are the only 999. To wrap it up, why I will buy Robertson Opus is because of the various points above, but most importantly, the livability factors are actually still quite high given the point block where they cater 25% of it to even 30% of it for homestay demand, which ensures price sustainability, because once you have people coming in naturally because they need to buy for own stay, it's going to support the prices and give a healthy track record throughout the many years to come. Now we move on to price prediction. Alright, because of the limited info and the developer has been very confidential about it. And the thing is, it is very difficult to find any information online. Usually if it's a land sales, we can find the land sales to predict against the ones that have been launched. But this time around, it's because it is they themselves unblocking themselves to redevelop this place. Alright, we don't have a purchase price in mind or a purchase price that is known to us in knowledge. So it makes the prediction a little bit more restricted and difficult, but I would think that based on the surrounding prices, it will be looking anywhere between 3,300 PSF to about 3,700 PSF starting from. Alright, of course, if it goes up to 3,700 per square foot, the upcoming 99 leasehold new developments like River Green, all this may have an advantage over Robertson Opus. So I think given the competition that is going to come out, I think they would want to price sensitively, but they themselves as a developer know that this is also a 999. Definitely consumers are willing to pay a bit of premium. So what I'm hearing for Upper House and Rivergate, they are likely going to be launching between the 2.8 to 2.9 range, or 3,000, 3,001 range for River Green. Upper House is about 3,000 to 3,003 because it's right on top of the MRT. So with that in mind, probably if I'm the developer that I know that I have such an advantage, probably I'll price it around 3,003 to 3,500 per square foot. I think that will be something we can consider. Maybe because it's non-GFA harmonized, maybe that's why we can get a slightly lower PSF, which may become an advantage to us. So now we move on to my final verdict and the evergreen scorecard. Alright, based on what I observe in terms of statistics of freehold/999 developments in the whole area, we are actually catering to the right demographics that are looking for such products. So in a way, there may be a need and a demand created because in this area, the last round where we had a new launch was actually Avenir, and Avenir has proven itself to actually appreciate very well given its freehold status. But if we look at the unit distribution of Avenir, it is mostly skewed towards more than 50% of homestay 3 and 4 bedrooms, which brought in a lot of natural demand and thus very fast appreciation. So we look at Robertson Opus, which 30% of it is in the 3 and 4 bedrooms, while 70% of it is in the 1 and 2 bedrooms. It does strike a little bit of concern, but otherwise, like I said before, people may be able to compromise a 3 versus a 2 bedroom and just to move closer to a city and to have a 999. Again, you have a support of a mixed development, yet 999, it will actually attract a lot of investors as well as people who has been staying in the CCR region to really go for this, because it's hard to come by a mixed development that is 999. Basically, you own a shopping mall for the next 999 years for many generations to come. So if you like my content so far and you like the comparisons that I made, remember to like, share, subscribe and click on the link below, alright, to further support me in terms of my motivation to create more wonderful videos for you.